Why can't we work out a deal here? Is Scott Leonard really a murderer?
He became one when he killed Shar Jackson. I want murder too. Maximum sentence. Make an example.
Well, we got the gun.
He says it was self-defense. The gang fight put him in fear of his life.
Plus, we got the kid's testimony, and he ID'd Scott Leonard's voice.
Ugh, not so fast. Judge just granted the defense motion to suppress the auditory lineup.
On what grounds?
Unreliable evidence. Without the lineup, we can't introduce Nina, and without Nina, we don't have a revenge angle.
Talk to the detectives again. We need to shore up our case.
So, who else we got?
A racist security guard and a gangbanger.
Great. Well, of the two evils, who would you put on the stand?
I hate to say it, but probably the security guard.
Really?
Yeah, you put Tarvarius Sims on the stand and the jury is only going to see his color. The defense will introduce his criminal record and they'll play the race card and say he doesn't like Scott Leonard because he's white.
Detective Curtis, I'm impressed at your grasp of sleazy courtroom ethics.
This ain't my first rodeo.
Mr. Zemsta, tell us about what you saw on the day of the shooting.
Just another day in the asphalt jungle, Mr. Cutter. You know how it is. I'm trying to keep order, and I got a bunch of bangers outside in the parking lot aiming to shoot each other up.
So you saw two rival gangs squaring off. Did you recognize anyone?
No, not anyone in particular. All them bangers look the same to me.
You didn't know anyone in the gangs?
No.
Mr. Zemsta, you told police you recognized Tarvarius Sims.
Oh yeah, right. I guess I did.
The hell? Why didn't Cutter coach this kid? We need a little polish here.
This might be the polish.
Other than the gangs, can you remember anyone else?
Kid, his mom. Tragedy. Real tragedy.
Anyone else?
Your Honor, please. If Mr. Cutter digs any deeper, he's gonna need a pickaxe. This is clearly leading.
Last chance, Mr. Cutter.
You sure you didn't see anyone you can remember?
Not really.
Your Honor, permission to treat witnesses hostile.
Permission granted, Mr. Cutter. Hope you know what you're doing.
Mr. Zemsta, you will now answer my questions with a simple yes or no, and you will answer them truthfully, or the DA's office will charge you with obstruction and perjury. Is that crystal clear?
Yes.
On the day of the shooting, did you see the defendant on the premises of your shop?
Yes.
How long was he there for?
I think an hour.
Did you recognize the model of the car he drove?
Yes, it was a Challenger.
You told police it was a Charger. Are you changing your testimony?
No, I mean a Charger. I just forgot. I'm nervous.
And finally, did you see him speed away from the scene of the crime?
Yes.
Thank you.
Your witness, Mr. Antonio.
Mr. Zemsta, are you a racist? Mr. Zemsta, did you see Scott shoot the victim?
No.
Why? Were you doing something else?
Yes.
What?
Hiding.
Where?
In the alley.
So you didn't see the actual shooting?
No.
Because you were hiding in the alley.
Yes.
What kind of cowardly security guard are you? Hiding in the alley?
Objection, Your Honor. Defense is badgering the witness.
Sustained. Watch it, Mr. Antonio.
You have an alcohol problem, don't you?
What? No.
It's a known fact that you drank on the job. You told the police as much.
I guess.
So it's safe to say you were probably drunk that day.
Objection! Speculation. Defense is taking this one too far.
Sustained.
Regardless, your status as an eyewitness leaves much to be desired. Withdrawn. No further questions.
Your Honor, redirect.
Go ahead, Mr. Cutter.
Mr. Zemsta, had you in fact seen Mr. Leonard parked in the lot for several months prior to the shooting? And did you see him that day only minutes before?
No. No, that's not right, Mr. Cutter. It wasn't several months prior. It was only a couple of days, Mr. Cutter. And he was in his car for like an hour before the shooting started.
Thank you. No further questions.
Ouch.
I know, Jack. I know. But without the boy, we got no other options.
Then get the boy's testimony back in.
Defense suppressed the audio lineup.
Then unsuppress it.
Well, Mr. Cutter, Miss Carmichael, why don't you tell us what's on your mind?
Your Honor, the people's case is being hampered by the exclusion of Henry Jackson's testimony. He was an eyewitness, an ear witness, in fact, to this murder.
Your Honor, this idea is based on voodoo science and old wives' tales.
It's based on hard science, Your Honor.
Save the rhetoric for the trial. I've read your briefs. Let's hear your arguments.
Let's examine Henry's enhanced auditory ability.
Your Honor, enhanced auditory perception on behalf of the blind is based on anecdotes and assumption. No studies have confirmed this ability.
Your Honor, no less an authority than the Neurological Center at Columbia University has confirmed it.
Yes, I saw the data. It is impressive.
A similar study conducted on men and women rendered blind as teenagers found almost no difference in auditory perception between them and test subjects who can see. The blind can't hear any better than the rest of us.
Your Honor, the study Mr. Antonio cites is flawed. Columbia researchers found enhanced auditory perception in people blind since birth, exactly like Henry Jackson.
Listening to a bunch of computerized sound files on a laptop is not the same thing as hearing my client in person. It was probably a terrible quality file. There was no consideration for the actual location. Who knows what Henry heard?
Your Honor, a police technician will testify that great care went into the preparation of those audio files. They were adjusted to take into account the acoustics of the parking lot and the distance of the speaker from Henry Jackson. The sound files presented were very authentic. You're welcome to review them yourself, Your Honor.
All right, I've heard enough. You did your homework, Miss Carmichael. The court is satisfied that the audio lineup serves as reliable evidence. Henry Jackson is back in.
Hey, Henry.
Olivia!
You recognize me?
Sure, I'd know your voice anywhere.
You know, you don't have to do this if you don't want to, Henry.
I want to.
Hi, Henry.
Abby's nice, but that other lawyer doesn't want people to believe your story. He may be kind of mean to you.
I'm not scared of no lawyer.
Ready?
Good luck, Henry. I'll be watching.
Henry, can you tell us what happened when you got to the parking lot?
I heard some boys yelling, fighting. Mama, she tried to get us into the store, but then the shooting started.
Before the shooting, tell us what you heard, Henry.
I heard a car door open. The keys were still in the, what do you call it? Ignition.
Could you recognize what type of car it was?
Yeah, it was a Dodge Charger, 2011.
So, at some point, your mother said, no, there's no call for that. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Who was she talking to, in your opinion?
Mr. Leonard.
You know this how?
He must have got out of the car after the shouting started, because I heard that door chime to his Charger. Then my mama yelled at him. Then I heard him shoot.
So, Mr. Leonard said Nina. Did he say anything else?
No, he didn't.
No warnings to the gang. No shouting like he was trying to defend himself.
Just that word, Nina. That's it. I'll never forget his voice.
People's Exhibit G, an audio lineup conducted under strict conditions where Henry Jackson identifies Scott Leonard's voice as the one he heard when his mother was shot. Thank you, Henry.
Henry, let me first say that I'm terribly sorry for your loss. Henry, you've been completely blind since birth, correct?
That's right.
So you can't see at all.
Objection! Asked and answered.
Sustained.
My apologies. Were you scared, Henry?
Yeah,
What about your mother? Was she scared?
yeah, she didn't want me to know, but I could tell because of how her voice changed.
Why were you scared, Henry?
Because of the gangbangers. They're always fighting, shooting each other.
Of course. I'd be scared too. Now, if you were scared and your mother was scared, wouldn't it stand to reason that Scott would be scared too?
Objection, Your Honor. This is pure speculation, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Withdrawn. Henry, you testified that your mother pleaded, saying, No, there's no call for that. How can you be so sure she was talking to Scott?
She said it to him after he got out of the Charger. She was looking at him when she said it.
Looking at him? How do you... Couldn't she have been looking at the gang members, or looking towards the store? She was trying to drag you inside for your own protection.
I suppose, but that's not what happened.
Is it possible she saw Scott draw his gun in self-defense and misunderstood what was happening?
I don't know, mister.
Is it possible your mother, fearing for your safety, thought Scott meant you harm, when in fact all he wanted was to defend himself against those gang members?
I'm sure what I heard. That's not how it happened.
How can you be so sure? The fact is, we'll never know what she was thinking those last few moments of her life.
Yeah, because Mr. Leonard killed her.
Scott was trying to save her life. He might very well have saved yours.
Objection, Your Honor. Speculation.
Overruled.
No further questions, Your Honor. And Mr. Jackson, again, sorry for your loss. Well, Mike, I'm here to deal, but the price has gone up.
Shocking. What's the offer?
3 years of probation and community service in return for a guilty plea to charges of reckless homicide, and you drop the felony gun charges.
Oh, how about we give him a medal, too? No deal. We're seeing this one all the way through.
Mr. Leonard, why don't you tell the jury what happened on the night of April 12th?
I regret those events. I regret them deeply. But they didn't happen the way Mr. Cutter says they did. Not at all.
Explain for us.
I never meant to shoot poor Miss Jackson. I was scared for my life, scared the gangbangers were coming again, coming for me.
Why would you fear that?
Because they killed my fiancée.
And you knew they would come for you eventually.
Yes, I knew they would. That's how these animals work.
Objection, Your Honor. Speculation. The witness can't know what his enemies, real or imagined, intended for him.
Sustained.
Tell us exactly what happened.
I just went to the Busy Mart for some wine. Now, I brought my gun for protection, you see. I was walking back to my car when I saw Sims and the other guys yelling at each other. I was almost to my car when I seen Sims look at me. I thought he recognized me.
Objection, Your Honor. Speculation.
Overruled.
Then I seen him raise his gun. I was trapped, too far away to get to my car. So I drew my weapon. It was me or him. I told him, back off, Sims, but he didn't. And knowing what they did to my Nina, I fired. That's why I said her name. I never ever meant to hurt anyone, especially not Miss Jackson. It was only in self-defense. I deeply regret it.
Thank you, Mr. Leonard.
Something's not right here. He's making out like it was a coincidence he was there that day, but it's not.
Your witness, Mr. Cutter.
Excuse us just one moment, Your Honor.
He planned this. I can feel it.
I know, but how do we break him?
Nina. Get him to talk about Nina. Draw him out.
Mr. Leonard. I've got a receipt here from the market on the day of the shooting. You bought 4 bottles of Mad Scotsman. 4 bottles? What were you doing? Getting your courage up?
No.
So, why?
No reason. I was just sad.
Sad about what?
About Nina.
What about Nina exactly?
That day reminds me of Nina.
Why?
It was near to a year the day she died.
Near to? Or...
I can't remember.
Really?
I don't keep nothing around that reminds me of it.
Mr. Leonard, the police recovered a newspaper clipping from your garage. It was an article about the carjacking, about the day Nina died. What was the exact date of the carjacking? of Nina's death.
Told you I can't remember.
People's Exhibit K, the newspaper clipping. Please read.
April 12, 2010.
And People's Exhibit L, the receipt. Can you read me the date on this receipt? The day of the shooting?
April 12, 2011.
A year to the day. Did you know Sims had territory near the market?
Yes,
Why were you outside?
just hanging out.
And the 4 previous days? Also just hanging out?
I really don't think I was there that often.
David Zemsta testified he saw you there 4 days.
It's my neighborhood, Mr. Cutter. I'm allowed to park my car where I please. I happen to like the Busy Mart.
The Busy Mart. The security guard said he saw you there an hour before the shooting. What's that about? Were you lying in wait for Sims?
No,
You're there all week. You're there before the shooting. Explain it, Mr. Leonard.
I was just there to make sure he didn't hurt some innocent bystander.
No, you took care of that yourself.
Objection!
Withdrawn. The boy testified he heard you. Was he there?
Yep, I saw him.
You told the court you were trapped, unable to get to your car.
Yeah, the car was 10 feet away, door closed and locked. I never would have made it. That's why I drew my gun. Otherwise, I would have just driven out of there.
Henry told us he heard your car door chime. He identified it specifically.
Well, yeah, I mean, right. I was mistaken just now. I did leave the door open when I went to the store.
A beautiful car like that? You left the car door open and the keys in the ignition?
I guess I did, Mr. Cutter.
You said you told Sims to back off before you fired.
That's right. I gave him fair warning.
Henry didn't hear you say anything but one word. Can you guess what that word was?
Nina.
You weren't there by chance. You were there for revenge. You cased the market for a couple days beforehand, watching. Then, on the anniversary of Nina's death, you got a little Dutch courage to get you going. Sims showed up, you saw your chance, and you took it. Only poor Shar Jackson got in the way.
I didn't mean for that. It's not like you're saying. I'm sorry, kid. I never meant no harm to your mom. I'm sorry.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Has the jury reached a unanimous verdict?
We have, Your Honor.
Please read the verdict as it stands recorded.
In regards to Mr. Scott Leonard as to murder in the second degree, we find the defendant guilty.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I want to thank you for serving. Sentencing will take place tomorrow. Until then, the defendant will be remanded into custody. Court is adjourned.
I'm sorry, son. I'm so sorry.
Mama always said turn the other cheek.
She was a good woman, Henry. She wouldn't want you to grow up with anger in your heart.
She'd want me to forgive Mr. Leonard, like Jesus does. Guess I'll try. Will you come see me at my new house?
I'll try and visit you, Henry, but we gotta get you settled in with your cousins. You need family right now.
Thanks, Olivia, for being nice and stuff.
No problem. Good luck, Henry.
Bye, Olivia.
Thanks for seeing us, Mrs. Vincenzo. We really need to talk to your husband, Frank.
You missed him by 2 weeks. You guys want some dinner? I'm making meatballs.
He left town?
He left the planet. Dead, my Frankie.
Sorry to hear that.
What's this about? One of Frankie's jobs finally catch up with him?
Did Frank ever own a gun?
Sure, in his line of work, a bunch. Listen, I know you guys know what kind of fella he was, and I definitely did, so let's not pussyfoot. He's gone, you can't get him now. What do you want to know?
Was Frank involved in a murder around 98? 2 kids in the park, both shot, one died.
Yeah, he might have mentioned that.
He did it for money?
Yeah, only that one he never got paid. Had a falling out with the client.
Who?
Sorry, that's all I know. Frankie never told me names.
So, it was a hit.
But no payout.
So maybe he got screwed.
Or maybe he screwed up.
At any rate, next question is...
Who paid to have Harrison Bedford killed?
Bingo.